Good evening, everyone. We have a couple minutes to give a couple people to pop in here.
Yeah. How's Jay-Z today?
I'm doing. I'm staying positive. I full disclosure, yeah, I'll tell everybody here because you got to do it from time to time. I had to take a quick nap before we jumped in the Zoom this evening. The whole house is either sick or coming down sick.
Oh,
So
no.
yeah, definitely feeling it this morning. And well, I know you know, I know Chris knows. When you're jumping on a bunch of Zooms and you're speaking to a bunch of people and you start to not really feel good, the energy drains really quick.
Yeah. Well, we're going to blame it all on the snow. It's been
Yeah,
hideous and I'm ready for it to go.
don't remind me. I just saw something that we might be getting some more this weekend
I
again.
know. I know. I said, well, I said I wanted to come back and get a little winter in, and I've certainly got my fair share this time. So,
You got enough for you and Chris while you were here.
absolutely. I'm ready to go back to the sunshine.
Chris, how you doing, man?
Good, good. I was responding to Veronica. Yeah, tell Uncle Laza, give me a call. Tell him to give me a call. Amazing individual, by the way. Amazing individual. But I'm doing well, man. Uh, I'm not as sick as you are, I should say, but definitely enjoying the day as we can be, actually. As everyone knows, I'm in Florida. So just looking at the weather, then the 24-hour difference of going to 88 to 33 degrees to 55. I'm like, jeez, I don't know if I'm wearing a coat today or not.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but it's okay. It is okay. But thanks for
Yeah,
asking. Just make sure you take care of yourself, man. Take some medicine. I know a lot of people out there, they like to do home remedies and stuff. Me, I like to throw shots with Theraflu, so I'm a little bit different.
I'm doing something that's outside of my nature, and I've got a nice bag of cough drops sitting right here. That's about the extent of how far I'll take it. I got the inhaler if I need it right here.
Hey, those help. Don't knock
Oh, yeah.
them. They're
No,
great.
I'm glad I found. Wait, the cough drops or the inhaler?
The cough drops, well, both really, but the cough drops, man, phew, sometimes you need them.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Veronica.
So yeah,
I
guys,
will.
we
This
we
too shall pass.
just want to. Uh-oh, I just lost. I got one bar. Can you guys hear me?
I
Uh-huh.
can hear you.
I went down
You're all
one bar
good.
for some reason. But no, guys, we appreciate every last one of you guys being here today. Sincerely. Like for instance, Veronica, I know you got a million different Zooms to jump onto. I know a lot of you guys as well, and you guys are here, so that means a lot to us. So I want to just start off and just ask you guys about co-living, of course. When it comes to co-living, not just myself, but the team came across something recently about property management companies, and I just want to hear from you guys specifically. What is something you guys are really looking out for when you're vetting a property management company?
Mhm. Great question.
And everyone has a different perception of what that looks like specifically. I see Harsh, you just raised your hand. Come on down. How much experience do they have? That's actually a good one, Justin.
Hmm.
Hey, how's it going?
Good,
Hey,
man.
How's
Harsh.
it going, Harsh?
Hey, so I guess for me, of course, how long have they been doing this? I do not, I think having a property manager who hasn't had experience, especially with co-living, I think that's a big risk. Don't want to be the guinea pig, I guess, for them. So one, how how long have you been doing this? Second, and the most big thing is vacancy, right? What is your average? Um, Occupancy rate that you see throughout the properties that they're managing. Because I think that's a big part of why I would want to hire a property manager so they can find me tenants. Um, and then, how do you deal with your SOPs, right? I think that's really important as well. So I think those would be my top three.
I love every last one of those answers.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Anyone else have anything to add to that? I know Justin said in the comment Also check for reviews if they're available. That's a good one as well. Yeah, Harsh, you kind of hit the nail right on the head, man. I do gotta throw that out there because one mistake that we made was ensuring that they truly understood PadSplit on a high level. When people hear about PadSplit, or sometimes if you go into the communication about affordable housing, it's totally different, guys. You got to understand exactly what affordable housing looks like when the co-living PadSplit. Everyone could like put the words together, the terminology, and you got to understand. You got to just take it apart for a second and truly understand what you're looking for. If I reach out to John Doe right now and say, "Hey, I got an 8 unit co-living asset," that property management company should be asking questions. And they say, "Oh, great, we take on all those all the time." Okay, well, wait a minute now. Is it a corporate leasing kind of situation? Is it room by room? Is it just, it's so many different questions you need to ask that a lot of people didn't ask. And one thing that came across our plate the other day was just understanding that a property management company, although they may appear to be credible, you do have to do your due diligence. Not all property management companies, even contractors at that, are licensed or should be actually overseeing your asset in general. Now, now there are some great handymans out there. If I go on the contracting side, there's amazing handymans out there that don't have a license. They do great work, but you got to understand where the line in the sand is. You have to understand where you need to pay a little bit extra to get the job done.
Mhm.
Harsh, you hit the nail right in the head, man. When I say if I'm reaching out to someone right now today, if it's Chris James getting on that phone call, I promise you, we're gonna have about a 15 to 20 minute phone call. This is not gonna be a hey, nice to meet you, 3 5 minute call. And not just a 15 to 20 minute minimum. You're talking about a follow-up email. A follow-up email to understand exactly what our expectations are because we're not slumlords. That's
Yeah.
one thing we won't be as slumlords. The property management company is only going to do what you allow them to do. If you don't stay on top of them,
Chris,
they will try to get away. We just received a invoice for Angel had to correct me because I thought it was $4,800. She said no. I'm like, oh, I said to fix a water leak. I said, what the hell did he do? Putting the stainless steel throughout the house? But it was for $480. Uh little things like that. We have to understand that they actually have a team in place. Uh, when I say team, not just us, I'm talking about if I was a property management company, who are their contacts? And are they credible? Can they be on call? They fix things when things go down. Like for instance, one of our houses in Jacksonville, the front of the house has water right now. The back of the house doesn't have water. You're probably thinking like, what's going on? And Angel and I know, we know, and not just Angel and I, Jay-Z and Haley, the team, we know specifically that the bill was paid. Like, there's no way even if the bill wasn't paid, they wouldn't cut off half the house. Like, what's
yeah.
going on? I'm like, so we reached out to the property management company just to figure out what was going on, and I, they were already on it. But at the same time, we need to be reassured exactly what the next steps look like because we've never been in that situation where half the house has water, the other half doesn't. So room 1 through 4 has water, but 5 through 8 doesn't have water. So like, what's going on here? Uh, to find out, they went into crawl space. They found there was a water leak. There was broken pipes and all that good stuff, but it's fixed now. So the property management company did hire somebody. They did hire somebody to go out there. They got it taken care of pretty quickly, actually, within 24 hours. And how do I say this? Invoice was sent over, but the project or the task wasn't verified. So all we knew, everything was taken care of because as you guys know, if you do have PadSplit dashboard, it tells you when a task is created or a ticket is created and when it's completed. However, is it up to the homeowner to verify that? or is it up to the property management company? Who is it truly up to verify that information? Or do they just send us the bill, we just pay for it, and oh, everything's fine? Those are things that you have to look out for because a lot of times, if we don't verify this, days can go by where we may receive another ticket, in which in this case we did. We received another ticket 3 days later. Still no water. How the hell am I going to take a shower?
Yeah.
Where we thought it was fixed. So what do you do in that situation? What do you truly do in that situation? And that's exactly where I'm going with it, Chris. You have to have consistent communication with your property management companies, especially when they're new to at least our company, not new to the scene, but our company. A lot of times, I know at the beginning we was having it faithfully, almost I want to say 2 to 3 times a week, just to ensure that everything was in alignment, the project was going the way, well, everything is being set up the way it's supposed to be set up. We did dial back a little bit once they had a thorough understanding exactly what was needed and the expectation. Far as we follow up with monthly emails. And or if they're not sending us a weekly email far as just what's going on, mind you, we can always log in and see. We see all communication. And one of our expectations to ensure that all communication is in the dashboard so we can have visibility. So there's no miscommunication or anything like that. I didn't realize how dark it got. I'm sorry, guys. 1 second. Um,
There
they
he
have,
is.
they have visibility. And when it comes to that, the back and forth or the hearsay, you eliminate all that. And that's something that we like to see because I can log in right now and see the communication from the property management or whoever have access to the dashboard and see the communication of how they, if the lock was broken, how did it get fixed? When did it get fixed? What the communication was. Was it aggressive? Communication is everything, guys. Communication is everything, especially with these tenants. I'm not saying we have to babysit them. I'm not saying we have to watch how we say it because, we gotta make sure we hold their hands or anything like that. I'm just saying when it comes to tenure, that's important to us. We have mentioned it many times. I'm gonna mention it again. Jacksonville, one of our properties over in Tulane, is our number one asset right now and always stays above 90%. Always. And I want to jinx it. We'll probably get a notification tonight.
Let me knock on wood real quick.
But it always does because the fact that we take care of them. We try to build a relationship with them. We're not saying you have to call them every day and say, "Hey, how's your day?" or communicate with them and say the little things that you would typically have with your friend or family member. It's just more so understanding that letting them know that you're there to take care of them and ensure that their needs are met. That's it. Where we dropped the ball on our other asset in Jacksonville. We dropped the ball. 3 days went by. We thought the problem was fixed. Everyone knows that you could do 100 great things, positive things in a row, but that one thing eliminate everything. They'll forget everything you've done for them over the last year or so. And unfortunately, that's perception. And that's the reality of how people feel. So yeah, I'm glad Angel. When I saw that invoice and I thought I'm like, damn, $2,800. I'm like, I could have drove my ass down and fixed it for that. But no, she said no, Chris, it's only $480, not almost $5,000. And I'm like, Jesus, because I'm about 2.5 hours away from the property, so I'm not too far. However, I only seen the property once, and that's before it went live. That's before it went live, and I haven't seen it since then. And the only reason I'm bringing this up because I know we mentioned a couple weeks ago we have recently switched property management companies in Jacksonville, and we have to. I don't want to say train. I don't like the word train, but we have to coach them in a way to have them understand specifically our way of doing things. And because they may have their own systems process, which they do.
Mhm.
We just have to set the expectation up front, and we're still learning each other. And then I think it's been about what, 4 or 5 months, guys? Was it 4 or 5
About
months?
4 months.
Yeah,
Yeah.
since that, and it's just overcoming the obstacles of what that looks like.
Hey, can I just jump in real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
I wanted to just circle back to one of the things that Harsh had brought up, and also somebody else had asked about what you're paying a property manager. So I just wanted to address both of them at the same time. First and foremost, our target rate for a boots on ground property manager is 5%. That's generally the area where we want to land. Okay, so we know, we're paying PadSplit 8%. Our goal is to pay the boots on ground 5%. Now, with that said, I'm going to kind of go back to what Harsh had brought up, and that's about SOPs, because that is a determining factor. And like Chris said, if we're hopping on a call with the property manager, that is absolutely one of the things that we go through because they have their own SOPs. But guess what? So do we.
Yeah.
So we have to kind of talk through what their process is, what our process is. If it's something in our process that is outside of their normal scope of work, that's where you get into negotiating on that 5%, up or down. Okay, because there are some things we do in our processes that pull away from what a property manager may have to do. So then it's going to go down. So that's kind of how we handle that. We have a kind of a starting point, 5%, but based on what their processes that they have in place are versus our processes that we require them to make sure they uphold 100%, that can go up and down. So I just wanted to kind of circle back to that and say, that is a huge part of vetting a property manager is to make sure, I don't think we've ever had a conversation with the property manager or onboarded one that their processes were already 100% of what we needed. There's always additions to their process, 100% of the time. So as Chris said, every time we have to onboard, and I had to laugh when Simone said fire them, because that's great in theory, but it takes, to do it right, guys, it takes a while to onboard a property management team and make sure that they're implementing and taking action on your way of doing things. The ultimate goal of property management is they're going to run that asset like their own. And kind of, I know somebody else had dropped in there about them being local. Yes, 100%. We're fairly close within, a certain number of miles. And the reason why is because you want a property manager. We've had all kinds of property management. We've trained property management. But we had one particular property management that never missed a beat on showing up at the property. Always there. Tenants knew him by face, by name. He created great relationships with these tenants, was always respectful, answered everything on time. He treated that asset like it was his own. Plain and simple. And that's what you're looking for in every property manager. So one thing that Jay-Z and Chris will probably agree here, but one thing that when you're vetting them, if you get the sense that they're putting everything off on a VA, they're not making property visits and building a face to your asset, that's probably a no-go. It should be, because your tenant should know when that person walks in the door who that person is, because he's the go-to guy or girl. So yes, 100%, you should have somebody local, and that person should always be giving you the impression they're treating your asset like their own. And back to the 5%, it may warrant more than 5, but it's well worth it. We've seen it, we've lived it. And those people are the best types of people to have in your management of the asset. So I just wanted to add that in there. I think that's a super important thing when you're vetting to make sure that you've got your eyes on.
Tim, come on down.
Yeah, I just had a question. You brought up your ticketing management system a couple times, and I'm going to show exactly how new I am since this is my first call. But is that something that comes with PadSplit? Do you have your own support service management system that you've built or that you know, you purchase or subscribe to? How does that work?
Yeah, so depending on what your end goal, if you're trying to be hands off versus if you're trying to be hands on, it can work very similarly, but it really depends. So I'm gonna go to say the easy route. Not, well, I hate the word easy. I really hate the word easy. The most simplest way to move forward, especially going get into co-living, is utilizing the dashboard on PadSplit. It's already built out. Everything is there. However, if you're not in a core market, you can still utilize the dashboard. Now, there's other ones out there, such as like Turbo Tenant. I know Angel and I worked very hard on Pipe Drive. That's got a ticket system itself, and not just that. I'm not the IT guy or anything behind the scenes. That's Jay-Z. I don't really get into all that good stuff. But when it comes to like the technical side, even Trello, you can always set up different things in there to automatically trigger text messages to go out and or notifications. But within PadSplit specifically is designed to be so seamless where you're hands off. Notification, alert from tenant to property management company to you, and or you could just be eyes like a fly on the wall. That you could literally just be a fly on the wall and not even say anything and just see how things are moving. I do it every week. I do it every week. Oh, and I'm pretty sure these guys are doing the same thing. But I can log in right now and just watch people go back and forth. But to answer your initial question, I will stick with PadSplit dashboard first. Until there's some software developers out there that will develop their own kind of unique, similar kind of thing. 'Cause let's be honest, Monday.com, Trello, Pipe Drive, they're all extremely similar. Even Go High Level, but Go High Level a little bit advanced. But if you're jumping into a core market and if you have the means to pay a little bit extra to PadSplit, you utilize a dashboard and let them do it.
Mhm.
And it's just a couple of percentage. Speaking of percentages, I'm glad we're having this conversation. There may be a new percentage coming out. I actually looked this. Let me see. I believe it's going to be happening quarter 3. They're in talks of tiers, depending on the level of service. There's going to be 3 different tiers, and it was actually they brought it up last. It was actually last year, but now they're actually thinking about truly rolling it out. There's a couple kinks they wanted to ensure that was in place before actually making it happen. But there's definitely going to be 3 different tiers you can choose from, depending on what level of service you need. I can speak for the guys that's on our team. We're going to go with the highest tier, no ifs ands buts about it. Their support is phenomenal. Their CRM is user friendly. If even they raise the percent to 14%, they can have it. And guys, I don't work for PadSplit. I just want to make sure we're clear on it. I do not work for PadSplit. It's just they're a great company. They're a phenomenal company where at the end of the day, any company you go with, they're going to have some flaws. It's just more so overall, does it work out for you? And it works phenomenal for us.
And they do, they spend quite a few millions in their R&D, their resources to host. So it's not just the platform, there are so many other benefits that you get with PadSplit if you're using them appropriately that can make a huge difference in your business. So just wanted to add that in there.
It is, and there's going to be things, guys, there's going to be things on the horizon that a lot of the people in the Zoom might not even be ready for over the next couple of years as they continue to land partnerships that they're landing in where things are going. Like what we have seen so far is just, it's so surface level to what this is ultimately going to turn into. I know everybody ask questions like the one that Tim just asked and what Chris just answered about, what systems to use and put in place. And Tim's been through my spiel. Chris and Angel, you guys have been through my spiel. There's a couple of other peoples that have too. that you start with the simplest form that's there for us right now is PadSplit. We don't need anything outside of that. But it's going to get to the points where you might not even have to be looking for integrators or systems architects to come into your business in the future running a PadSplit model because they've put so much money into the marketing. They haven't even really touched the tech side to where it's going to be going once because they look at it the same way that we do. Chris talks about if they went bumped up to 14%, we'll take it all day. There's so much they take off of our plate. Well, some of the partnerships that PadSplit is leaning into is doing the same thing for them. So all this money that they've dumped into marketing up until this point, some of those partnerships are going to alleviate some of that. Guess where the first area that they're going to start looking into to dump that leftover? It's going to be the tech.
Yeah.
If foresee it, I called it with Go High Level, and I'm calling it with PadSplit now. Mark my words.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, Atticus has actually led on to that quite a bit in different conversations. That's really their Achilles heel right now. Their system is, in comparison, basic, but it's great and it does the job. But they have so many technological opportunities at PadSplit with the partnerships that they have. I'm like you, Jay-Z. I think over the next year, what's already good is just going to be phenomenal on both sides, the marketing, the admin, and, of course, the technological side of it now. I'm really looking forward to that myself.
Absolutely. No, guys, these are great questions, and we appreciate every last one of you guys. And going back to Harsh, you mentioned three things there, and property management companies and understanding exactly your due diligence, and not just that, going into those conversations, being intentional of what you're truly looking for. I have vetted personally, I want to say about 7 or 8 property management companies within 24 to 48 hours, and it was draining. I'm not talking about days, weeks, I'm talking about hours. Oh, it was draining. I spent literally all day within 48 hours vetting. And I would pose random questions just to see if they even know. And or request they send us the email of our conversation. Are they paying attention? Or are they just looking to hire another client? We have came across people who have great personalities. You can tell they're a great people person, but they're not the right fit. They are not the right fit. Someone mentioned earlier, like reviews and websites and stuff. You're 100% right. Oh, it's Justin. That's what it was. You're 100% right. You can always look at those things, but at the same time, a, nowadays, a lot of people don't have websites, especially contractors, or especially if they're small. They may be good contractors, but they just either don't have time and or that's probably not crossing their mind because they're stuck in a different millennium.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. But when it comes to property management companies, uh, I want to say about 3 or 4 that I can probably look up, and I know for a fact they're very organized where you can see exactly where locations they're overseeing. Their process is a clear breakdown. They very transparent to let us know they're using AI assistants or AI technology. If you want a live representative, you have a call after this specific number. It's very thorough. Like you have to do your due diligence to see exactly what that looks like. Now, me, I'm that guy. I would call the AI assistant, just ask crazy questions just to see if they can really navigate me into the right direction. And sometimes they can't, sometimes they could. And where things are going, I know for a fact everyone's going to have an AI assistant, and that's okay. We have an AI assistant. We have, and it's just more so understanding exactly how do you want to utilize them to fulfill exactly your overall objective. That is it. So the Justin, I think
Yeah.
that's a great question, and Well, a great statement, I should say, because a lot of times reviews, I look at reviews all the time, and sometimes if it's always 100%, always good reviews, I don't know. I don't know why that bothers me a little. I don't know. Like, you're telling me there's like 192 reviews, not one bad one, or okay one, or anything. They're just perfect robots. Because things happen, guys. We're human. We're human.
Which may be the case soon with AI
Yes, that is
over
true.
the next 10 years. And it might all be perfect robots, including us.
That is very true.
But yeah, Chris, thank you for that. The constant attention to improvement is refreshing. Guys, that's systems, that's processes, that's people. You know, everything that you build, everything that you create is living. You know, don't ever be that person who creates SOPs, puts them in a binder, and puts them up on a shelf. Your SOPs are living and constantly changing and updating and all those things. So, thank you for that because that is something that we definitely pride ourselves on. I mean, you guys, and most of you guys on the Zoom know it, we've been through hell and back, and we've learned a lot of hard lessons along that way. You know, broken systems, you know, things that didn't work, and um, you're never there. We love our systems. We're very proud of our systems, but are they going to continue to grow and evolve? Absolutely. There's probably not a day of the week that goes by where like, oh, we need to add that in there. Oh, we need to do this. We need to switch that up. You know, and sometimes when you, especially we're talking about property management tonight, guys, every asset is different. Every property manager is different. There's different things that have to be done in different states, different locales. Um, so all those things you have to be able to ebb and flow with your systems. They should be a continuous thing, and that includes your people. You know, you 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 have to kind of embrace change. You've got to build that culture of change, especially nowadays. Talking about AI and all the things that are going on around us, um, change is inevitable. So make sure that your teams and your systems are both in a position where they're able to handle and positively move through those ebbs and flows. That's your only true way to success. Someone has their some this 100%. Oh, yeah. I'm with Chris on that one. 100% all the time. Yeah, that's fishy. A little bit fishy.
But they gotta just understand that no one's perfect, and you're not gonna no on any business in the world, any business in the world, there's going to be mistakes that happen, and you're not going to be able to impress every single body. So just wanted to
Absolutely.
throw that out there.
You hit the nail on the head with that. And even with Justin saying like he looks for at least two okay and one negative reviews. I don't I don't know if you guys do the same thing. Well, I used to do, and I know Haley did every time we were looking for a place to go out to eat or something to go do with the little guy. The first thing I know that she would do would run to the reviews and check them all out. And a lot of the times in the beginning, it was just skimming over, like, oh, this one's got, they've got a bunch of really good reviews, but they've got 10 negative reviews. And then you'd skip over a place just because there's negative reviews there. Read them, read those reviews. Like Chris was saying, like, you can't, it doesn't matter who you are, you can't, not really impress, but you can't please everybody all the time. And there are going to be people like within the companies, and I've spoken to business owners even here locally as well going into the business to where they've had a couple negative reviews on there. And it was something so far outside of their control. And it was something so slight. It was just because somebody had a bad day and this little thing happened and they put a negative, they put a zero or a one star on there with an entire book that people aren't going to want to read and just assume that the place or the company or whoever it is isn't really worth the time.
Yeah, yeah, that's why you got to do your own due diligence. Always. Mhm.
Any other questions, guys? These questions are great tonight. Just want to throw that out there. I didn't expect you guys to guess it right away, but you guys did a phenomenal job on that.
That's it. Harsh isn't
Tough
allowed
group
back.
here. Look.
Darren said
He's
he
got a
has.
question.
Darren, if you raise your hand, I can find you.
Nope, I got him.
Okay.
Ooh, oh, there we go. Okay. Hey, how's everyone doing?
Good, man.
Good.
How
How
are
are
you?
you?
Wonderful, man.
Oh, good. Well, we're just trying to figure out the market we're going to be in, but you know, the we don't really have the bandwidth to be full on managing anymore. We used to manage all of our properties, but um, so wondering about getting a manager. We found someone who seems great. They wouldn't be in the market we're thinking of. Would you say that's a bad idea to have them manage remotely? I mean, we could find something in their market. We're, would have to go to a new market, new contractors, new everything.
Ooh, that is a great question.
Yes.
I'm gonna let Angel take that one.
Yeah, and I'm a little on the fence about this one, and I think I would just need a little more context because we've done that. So it's going to depend on two things. A, your level of understanding of how that asset should operate, and B, their level of understanding of how that asset should operate.
Oh,
And then you've got C, is the property properly set up to be ran remotely 100%?
yeah. So to back up, we've done long-term and medium-term, like travel nurse
Mhm.
housing, furnished rentals and stuff. So, we have some knowledge, but
Okay.
this manager is a co-living investor and manager.
Okay.
We don't have a property yet, so we're just looking. And so I'm trying to have the best of all worlds, if that's possible, which is have good cash flow, have good long-term growth, and then, use our skills in furnishing and our experience, but not have to manage the thing. And I don't know how much we're going to lose from if we do PadSplit and a manager, or maybe we just do
Hmm.
the manager and that's fine. But I'm just trying to figure out because in the area we've usually invested in, which is St. Louis, Missouri, and New York City, we don't have anyone who knows how to do this.
Okay.
And also,
So
by the way, we have the
if
other problem, which is in St. Louis, most of the um, unrelated occupant, caps are like 3 to 4 people.
yeah,
Hard
it's
in
up
truck.
and definitely up and coming. Yeah. I actually visited there over the summer. That was one of the spots that we wanted to dive into, and it's going to be a great market, by the way.
Yeah,
So
it will. I
congrats.
agree.
I think that's a good find. If you've got it in the right area, that's going to be a great find for you guys. But back to the property manager. Just so you know, our model is PadSplit and then on boots on ground property management. So if you're going to eliminate PadSplit and just use that property manager, when you're vetting them, make sure and please ask them to give you a login so you can test their system. Okay. What is that? Are they using Turbo Tenant? Whatever it is. Take a look and a peek at what that looks like so that you know you're getting what you need. Second, kind of back to the making sure the asset itself is set up for 100% remote, making sure that you've got great Wi-Fi, first and foremost, great remote lock resets, thermostat controls. It really needs to be a smart home if you're going to make sure it's 100% remotely done. And also really dive deep into, because if that person is not local, you need to understand their ecosystem. Who is
Yeah.
their cleaner in the area? Do they have two backup cleaners in the area? Because those are people that are going to be in your house every day, okay? Or very, very often. Your landscapers, contractors, or handymen, ask them specifically for a list of their ecosystem so you can call them for reference. Okay. And that's very important. Like I said, it's different when you have one local, but if they're going to also try to do that remotely, you've got to know they've got a solid ecosystem set up for that already. That
We
anything
that's
you
where
need is
that's
not a
where
phone call
that's where we have
away.
that. Yeah, we're a little lucky there just because we um we do have experience in St. Louis, so we have pretty good people we can rely on a little bit, and we have contractors and a network, but so we could
Well,
kind of
good. And
steer that.
that's a conversation with that property manager because again, you're paying them to do this. Otherwise you're going to self-manage. If you're going to call in the cleaner all the time,
Right.
if you're going to call in the contractor you're going to do that. That's what you're paying them to do. So make sure that, you're providing them. These are the people that we want to use in this area, but also make sure that your property manager has backups because nobody's 100% all the time, especially handymen. They get overbooked, cleaners get overbooked, things like that. So just make sure between what you've got and what they
Yeah,
have, you have a solid ecosystem with backups if you're doing
I appreciate.
100% remote. Because yeah,
And
you'll
then
fall short. Absolutely, we've done it.
do you guys do in-person meetings? Like, do you have someone who goes to the house to just talk to the tenants on some
Our
regular
property
basis,
managers are
or
required to do that. Yeah. If we require at least a monthly
any
visit. Oh, I think he's kind of cutting out a little bit. Am I?
reason why the manager has to show up? That would be because we couldn't do that then.
Darren, I do apologize. I think you were kind of cutting out on me and I didn't catch everything you said.
I said, yeah, if we have a manager who's not there, I guess that's the downside, right? They can't do that monthly meeting.
Yeah. And I just want to kind of circle that back to what Chris had mentioned earlier. For us, tenure is the top priority. And one of the things that we have learned over 3 years is when they have a face for the asset, it does make a difference.
Right.
And kind of back to that property manager that I was talking about, the guy that showed up all the time was always riding past. They knew he was in the area and on the job all the time. That is still our number one performing asset. And I have no doubts that that is one of the reasons why. We have
And do
people
you
that
just,
have just
yeah,
been there since we broke ground. I mean, it's crazy.
I don't want to hog the conversation, but I would be curious if you guys want to talk about what you do in the monthly meeting. Is it just to walk around, or do you actually like sit and talk to the tenants?
It's actually different for every asset and every location. So we kind of have a standard, especially the first couple of times that you do that, say with a new property manager, it's very standard. We do expect them to know the occupancy, things that you need to know, basics you need to know, the occupancy rate, how many people came in this month, left this month, were there any repair issues? Are there any upcoming issues? Are there any maintenance? Because we make sure that all the properties are quarterly maintenance too, whether that's making sure the air filters are changed out, the roof's being checked, all the things. So those are just basic essentials. But what those meetings are really for is building the relationship with the property manager. It's just as much our job to make sure we develop that great relationship with them than it is the expectation for them to do that with our community. So for us, it's just being able to have that time. That's a very important piece of that, to build that relationship with the property manager. We want them to always be able to approach us in a collaborative way. Never you didn't do this month kind of thing. It's more like, how can we fix these things? Maybe they've identified that. I'll give you an example. One of our Jacksonville properties is on septic. Okay, we know now after
I hate that.
much repair work and things like that that the solid thing to do is make sure that we're pumping those out quarterly. Period.
Yeah.
It's going to save time, labor, all those things. But in the midst of that going on and trying to identify and the problem and figure out we wanted to make sure that we had FaceTime and we were all together as a team collaborating on how to resolve and move through this obstacle. And that's and I think I speak for Chris and Jay-Z here, that to us is what that time is most important for. Because if you want that PM to ultimately treat your asset like their own, that's the only way you're going to get there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
go
that
through
makes sense.
go through the motions of the regular things, occupancy, repairs, things like that. But that time is really, you should be trying to make an impact and build that relationship with them so they feel very close. Nobody's going to love your asset like you do. But I guarantee you, when you spend quality time with those property managers, they start to feel like that asset is theirs and they start to own it. So,
Right. And I guess you're saying also the tenants need to see the
yes.
someone physically
And the time and support you give that
showing up.
management
I mean,
is the
obviously I want
support
to
they turn
avoid,
around and give your community. Yeah.
Right. And
And
I
then,
want to have them not have too many conflicts. I mean, that's the big thing I fear the most.
Mhm.
And I don't know how often you guys even have tenant issues if you set the expectations right, but I guess the hope is this reduces it.
Yes, absolutely. And just a point on that, yes, everything should be, all expectations should be set up front. And although there are every once in a blue moon, an issue that you've got to work through, um, you're running a business. And even if you have a tenant who's a great paying tenant, who's been there with you for a while, if, people repeatedly violate things, you got to move on. The other seven people in the house deserve that. So also you're a PM who can approach that in the right way. And they generally can only do that when they develop that relationship with the members as well. So they know they can depend on, hey, when I call Joe, I know Joe's got my back. He's going to enforce the house rule because we already know, because last time somebody broke the house rule, Joe booted them out. We all know the rules and we all deserve to be upheld by the rules. And you've got to make sure that your property manager is stepping in that capacity in a gentle way. It doesn't always have to be forceful. I don't mean that to be forceful.
No, no, of course. I mean, I'd rather be, we've done this before. We've done cash for keys or we've just had a nice
Yeah,
talk. We've
exactly.
never had to forcibly evict anybody.
Yeah. So
But
yeah, I mean,
um,
and it's not always about the money, Darren, and when it comes to property management. If you should be interviewing multiple agencies or people, and you really, sometimes you do, although they need to, tick off all the check boxes. Generally, you'll find one that like, yeah, I really love the way this person communicates. And that's a heavy consideration for us because how they're communicating to us is how they're also going to communicate to our members. So, if it comes down to it and you've got a way out, two of these guys can both seem to do the same job, go with whoever you have the most open and comfortable conversation with, because how they make you feel comfortable is also how they're going to make your community feel. Just,
yeah, or at least if they make me
just in my
uncomfortable, they're
humble
going to do
opinion.
the same. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Did I
some of
miss
you guys
anything
are
else? I
using
know you
third.
kind of cut out there a little bit, and I apologize if I
No, no,
overtalked you.
I'm right now in like farm country and having we don't have a good cell
Gotcha.
phone signal here. So, but so you guys do use third party managers sometimes?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. For us, our business model was we are now at a point where we're set up to scale. So we are, like Chris said, we are very passive. We don't have to do anything on the day to day. We do watch behind the scenes. We watch every communication because we keep our own KPIs on many, many
Right.
things. And those are occupancy, maintenance tickets, response times, things like that. So we do still watch that, but we are very hands off now. And that's the way we intended it to be. So we can continue to scale.
And that's the best. We had two properties where we just sort of watched the communication, some,
Yeah.
ticket raised, ticket resolved. Every once in a while, I check in with the tenant. Do you feel like you're getting the tickets resolved? Okay, great, cool. You know, and if not, I mean, I've had to step in, but mostly that's the
Yeah,
life.
it is. And like I said, when I probably can't express the importance. Like your property manager is such a pinnacle to that business. So that's not an area where you want to slack on due diligence, follow up, making sure you're, meeting with them and going over those SOPs, setting those expectations right from the beginning. It can make or break your asset in all reality. That is probably the biggest piece of due diligence that you do is finding the right property management. So don't take that lightly.
Right. Yeah. No, that's something we'll be careful of for sure.
Yeah,
And
and
I
if you have
guess
any
it sounds
questions,
it
reach
yeah, no,
out.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. It just sounds like I think from the bottom of this that it's probably better to have a manager who can show up. And so we might just try to find a different market, which means learning a new market, I guess, but that might be easier. It sounds like.
Yeah. Well, like I said, any way we can help, let us know. I don't know if you're part of the school community. I know I did see Haley drop in the invite so you can get in there if you're not already in there. If you ever have questions, maybe you're stuck on something, maybe you're in the middle of a PM interview and you just want to know something, you're always welcome to drop it in the community in school. And Jay-Z, Chris, and I will try to answer it as soon as possible. And if not, there's other seasoned um, operators in here. Somebody can quickly get you an answer for something. Thanks, Haley.
Yeah, no, I appreciate. Yeah, I'm trying to get in as we speak, actually. So we'll.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what we're here to help, and we have a great community. And like I said, there are other seasoned operators and investors in there that somebody's going to be able to get to that answer quick for you.
Amazing. Well, we appreciate it. If you guys have more calls, of course, we'll be on in 5 seconds. We'll love to join.
Absolutely, but we do this every Thursday night at 6. So we do
Oh,
have some intermittently, but this is a standard. Every Thursday night at 6 p.m. we will be here.
nice. Okay, then I will join.
Even if
Great.
we have raspy voice and have to take naps before the Zoom, we will be here for you guys.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, no worries. Those were really great questions. And I'm glad that we segued to property managers tonight because guys, that it really is like that is, geez, that's such an important part of what you do is making sure you've got the right management in place. It can really make or break you. Um, so that's definitely an area not to skip due diligence on for sure. So great conversations tonight. I know we are now really getting close to the top of the hour. Did you guys have anything else on your mind? Any other questions,
We have
comments?
Justin with his hand raised here.
Justin,
Hey, what's up, guys? Hold on.
what's up, buddy?
How are you guys doing?
Good, good. Did you get my email?
I did. Thank you, by the
Okay,
way. I have to look through it, but yeah, thank you very much
okay.
for that.
Let me know.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And actually, I got this kind of relates, but when we're doing our underwriting, or when I'm doing the underwriting, one of the things that I've been fooling with is the, percentages for, pad split and for property
Hmm.
management. Right.
Yeah,
So I noticed on the last underwriting that I was a part of, Zoom that you guys did, that you had basically 8% for pad split and 5% for property management. I know you said in here that you guys are shooting for 5% for property management. Is that because pad split takes so much of the work off of the
yes,
property management? Yeah, that's kind of what I figured.
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
in a normal situation, a huge part of what property management is doing is
Mm,
marketing, finding the tenants, running their credit, taking the applications, taking the payments. PadSplit does
mm.
all that.
That's what it does it. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. And then when you're, because what Pansy and I are doing right now ultimately is just we're trying to get really quick go or no go decisions on properties that are getting sent to us that we're looking at, right? And one of the things I find myself struggling with is, and this is ignorance tax that I'm paying here, but looking at properties, whether or not they have a floor plan or not, just kind of eyeballing the property and saying, all right, do we think that we can add three more, four more bedrooms to this thing?
Mhm.
Ultimately, the underwriting is going to tell me this is only going to work. It's only going to hit our numbers if we can add a certain number of bedrooms. Do you still go ahead and just submit an LOI at the price that you would need to hit, given the number of bedrooms that you think you can add to the place? Or does that
We
make
have,
sense? Kind of,
we have
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
Just keep in mind
Yeah.
though, if you like for us, we know because you know this already. We buy in different tiers. So say it's
Hmm.
a lower one, so it's just a tier one. We don't really do common areas. the least common
Mhm.
areas, the better in the tier ones.
Mhm.
Yes, we'll take the square footage, we'll kind of look at the pictures, see what the layout looks like and go, oh, yeah, we can turn the living room, we can turn the dining room, whatever that looks like. And yes, we will move forward. Different
Mhm.
scenario when you get into the little higher tiers, because now we're going to talk about common areas. So we've got
Yeah,
to,
and what, yeah,
have room for those as well. But yeah,
yeah.
just a normal, to maximize ROI, normal, yes, that's exactly what we
Yeah,
would
it's
do.
just kind of base it on your essentially on your gut, based obviously based on the
Yep.
data, based on the square footage and the stuff you've
Mhm.
looked at. But and when and again, so I'm clear, the on the higher tiers, we're talking nicer neighborhoods, nicer properties, that kind of thing, right? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, we're still going
yeah.
to leave at least one
Okay,
common area. Yeah.
yeah. And I know you've talked about that. I don't want to take you guys too far over. I know you've talked about that a little bit on the common areas thing, because with the lower tier properties, the idea would be you're going to get a certain type of tenant, and
Mhm.
so most of the time those common areas don't really they don't get used to begin
No,
with,
they don't.
and
Mm-mm.
yeah, okay,
Yeah, those people are really not looking for roommates. They're not looking
yeah, right,
to,
right,
they're not younger kids trying to connect and all that. Still, a lot of those people are workforce people. They're,
right,
already working 10 hours a day. They just want to come home. They want a clean place to lay their head,
yeah,
everything working, somewhere to do their laundry. It's just a different
yeah,
type of tenant.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Well, that clears that up. I appreciate it. That was my
Yeah, no
question.
problem. And let me know in case that wasn't what you needed. Let me know, because after I sent it, I was like, he might have meant this. So just let me know what you need.
I'll let you know. I'm still going through a few things right now, actually, as we speak. So I'll get back to you today. I'll
Okay,
get a response back
perfect.
to you again. So awesome. Thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Oh,
Great
one more thing.
questions.
You guys were planning
Yeah.
on doing more underwriting Zooms, right? I think that's what James had mentioned that to me, right?
Yes. Hopefully those will get started in February. Well, I know we're almost here, but
Okay,
yes,
cool.
absolutely.
Love it. I will be on
I
those.
know that's kind of what everybody like to kind of get in on those,
Hmm.
because it's different. Co-living is different. So
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
we will have those coming to you live.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you guys.
You're welcome. See you soon. All right. Do you restrict yourself by the local code on unrelated occupants, or have you gone above based on the membership model? Uh, okay, so I'm going to give you the simple answer here, Darren. We basically stick to core markets in general. And PadSplit's already kind of done all that work for you. You know what you can put in there, what you can't. So we just stick to it, whatever that looks like in that market. Uh, that's really going to have to be a personal decision. That's a personal risk you're taking. If locally you can only have 8 unrelated tenants and you've got a 10 room, is it worth it to bump it up and get cited for it and possibly shut down? Maybe, maybe not. Um, Personally, I wouldn't risk it. I'll probably speak for Jay-Z and Chris here too, but I wouldn't risk it. There are too
Mm,
many
sure.
other available properties in areas where you can maximize. It's just, why go digging for trouble when you don't need to? That's
Yeah.
my theory.
Personally, I've seen too many people try to squeeze every penny that they can get out of converting a property and get cease operation orders slapped on their doors.
Yep. And we choose to not be there. All right. Any other questions, guys? Thank you. You had some really good ones tonight. Thank you. I hope everybody got some value out of it this evening. You're welcome, Chris. And guys, just to remember, we do this every Thursday, 6 p.m. If not, Haley did drop the link. Make sure you get in school. Chris, Jay-Z, and I will always hop in there and get whatever answers we can, whatever questions we can answered. So make sure you're in there. That's the easiest way to get what you need. Uh, Outside of that, thanks, and we'll see you guys next Thursday. Have a
Have a
good
wonderful
night.
evening. Wonderful evening. We'll see you guys next week.